I don't even know what a CEO does. That was the question that I had for the first 5 years I ran my business. Hey there, I'm Ben Gerster, and I built my digital marketing agency to over $400,000 in recurring revenue, and now I help other agency founders do exactly the same thing. Look, for the first 5 years that I ran my business, I was struggling. I had a team of nearly 35 people. I was completely lost in terms of how to lead the business. I really didn't know what my role was as the leader and owner of this company. All I knew how to do was hustle. I knew how to deliver the work. I knew how to keep clients happy. I knew how to sell clients, but I really didn't know the first thing about management. And that's a pretty common thing in the agency space. There's a lack of good leadership and good management in the creative disciplines. It's because we're all so busy with the work. And what gets left behind is the art of managing a team of people and building culture and setting vision and goals that an organization can use to gain traction, to grow, and to improve the lives of everybody that's on that team. It's important to note that to become a real CEO, you're going to have to get yourself out of the work. The CEO cannot be totally wrapped up into the work all day serving clients. You really do need time to be a CEO. There's a reason it's a high-paid position in other businesses. It's because it's very important. Leadership, setting the vision, holding teams accountable, giving them the tools and resources that they need, solving problems. This is a full-time job. But that doesn't mean that you can't begin the process if you're still in some of those early days where you're still in the work and you're really starting to grow to the place where you feel like the company needs that kind of leadership. Here are some of the main tools that a CEO has in their tool belt to just help them manage their role. Number one, having a leadership team. Having a small team of people that are empowered to build the business, to work on the business, to solve the biggest challenges of the business. Not the clients, the business, the agency. You guys have your own challenges. You need to build solutions. You need to introduce better tools, better processes. There's a lot that the business needs to have worked on if it's going to continue to hit your goals and your targets of growth. So a leadership team is truly needed that is going to be dedicated, not just 100% leadership team, usually are department heads, they're working on other things, they're managing other people, they sometimes and most times are involved in accounts, serving services to clients. But they've also been given a delegated responsibility, and part of their time is expected to be spent on these big solutions that the business needs. So a leadership team is number one as your toolkit as a CEO, is having that team that's going to help you do the work of building and leading the company. Number two is having a framework for how you set goals, targets, and objectives for the business. So this looks like having an annual planning meeting with your leadership team. It's typically a 2-day session. It's usually off-site, where you guys can plan out what does the next year's goals and targets look like. You're setting the major growth KPIs for the business. You're identifying some of the biggest objectives that you want to see accomplished in the business. And then you're creating a scorecard for how you're going to measure success against those goals. The next tool that you have is an actual quarterly goal setting framework within that year-long annual plan. So we take year-long goals and we break them down into quarterly goals. Being able to actually set a quarterly goal or a rock for the business, a clear target that the business needs to achieve to be on track with building the annual goals that the business has set. Usually rocks are delegated. Each leader owns a rock. There is a rock owner. This again, as a CEO, is how you don't get stuck trying to do everything yourself. You are a delegator. You are helping your team set the right vision, but they're going to actually be the ones to go and execute on these goals. Having a framework of delegation of the biggest goals for building the business is ultimately what we're talking about, is having quarterly goals that are delegated projects to your leadership team that they own and that they will solve. We've got a way of setting goals in the business. Now we need to have a way of communicating in the business and managing the business. And we do that through a series of different meetings. The biggest meeting that we have is our town hall structure meetings. That's why every time we do a quarterly planning session and we set our quarterly goals, our quarterly rocks, we then go and communicate that status to the company. So by having a town hall format where we can communicate quarterly goals, the financial targets of the company, the financial health of the business, what did we get achieved last quarter? What are we hoping to achieve this next quarter? This is essentially the basic recipe of a great town hall structure that a CEO can deliver to the business so that they are communicating and keeping everybody on the same page in the organization. The next smaller meeting that happens is the weekly meeting. So this is where you have a weekly hour-long session with your team where you solve issues in the business. Your leadership team comes together, you step in as the CEO, you help solve problems alongside your leadership team. They bring the problems to the meeting, everybody discusses them, you make decisions as a team, you set them out to go and solve them. So you're not alone if you feel lost on this whole CEO thing, and there is a lot more information around this. Any of the questions that you have, I encourage you, drop them in the comments below. I would love to hear them, and I will dive deeper on any of these questions with you. So if you found this video helpful, like it, subscribe to the channel, and I will drop more videos every single week with tips and tricks that you can use within your agency to build a bigger, better, smarter business. Until the next time, stay sharp, stay hungry, and keep evolving.